Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the GSMC Hockey Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Garrison McDaniel, and we have a fantastic show for you guys today. A couple new hirings around the NHL and, of course, the playoffs to get underway. Our first segment, we'll be talking about that game from Monday night that we left off talking here on Monday night about the Oilers Stars Game 3. After that, we will be talking about another overtime game between the Panthers and the Rangers. That is their third in a row, as the Panthers were able to even up their series. Our third segment, we'll be talking about a couple of teams out of the playoffs. The first one will be in the third segment, talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets hiring a new general manager / president of hockey operations. Our fourth segment will be talking about the Kraken and hiring a new head coach. And then we'll finish it off by talking about, of course, the current game going on as we have been for most of this playoffs. But before we start with any of that, I would love to remind you guys that if you have any questions or comments for me, you can use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net. That will ensure that your tips or donations will appear up on the screen, and then I will be able to read them out loud live. But without further ado, we are going to get right into, as I switch it one more time, we're going to get right into our first segment of the night, talking about the Dallas Stars taking Game 3 in Edmonton. It's such an important game for the Dallas Stars to win, and they were able to do so. In this game, we were talking about it right as the Dallas Stars were making their comeback in the second period. So for those of you that did not watch the game, the Edmonton Oilers go up 2-0 to begin this game early. It's Connor McDavid all over the ice in the first period, getting an assist and a goal, but the Dallas Stars were able to stop that in large part due to a Nick Robertson I'm completely blanking on his name. I'm completely blanking on his name. I gotta look. Jason Robertson. Sorry, that's the one. There's 3 Robertsons in the NHL. I was looking at Nick Robertson from the Toronto Maple Leafs earlier. That's why the name was stuck in my head. But Logan Robertson, he's the one with the hat trick for the Dallas Stars in this game. Very, very impressive performance from him, being able to help with this comeback that the Dallas Stars were able to make. In this game, this is such a brutal defeat for the Edmonton Oilers. They go up 2-0 early in the first period. You have your home ice, behind you. This is Game 3, their first game back in Edmonton in a little bit here. And they were not able to capitalize on that, not able to do really much of anything beyond the first period, getting another goal. But this has been a very disappointing series for Leon Draisaitl. He hasn't been in the score sheet yet. Looking to turn that around tonight, as it is 2-2 in that game currently. Very important game they have going on tonight because of this win by the Dallas Stars. This forces the Edmonton Oilers' hands. If the Oilers lose this game, they go down 3-1, and it's very, very scary for Edmonton. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, all of that cast included in that one. But going into the game breakdown, and then we'll talk about a little bit more on the game after that, talking about the Edmonton Oilers were the first ones to get a goal. As I mentioned, it's Zach Hyman, of course, and this is such a Zach Hyman goal. I've talked about it throughout this entire postseason, a Zach Hyman goal. It is him on the doorstep on the far side. McDavid skates around, just sends it in on Zach Hyman's stick, and he's able to put it home. That's what happened. That's what happens. It's Zach Hyman has created a living this year. Has created a living this year doing that, and he's been very impressive all season because he's been able to get to his spot. But really, that's what it's been, is Zach Hyman just getting to his spots, and then Connor McDavid doing some magic to put it on his stick, and that's what we see here in that first goal. He just tips it in with the shaft of his stick on this one. So, a lot more credit goes out to Connor McDavid for putting it on his stick. This is his 13th goal of the playoffs now, though. He does lead all forwards in he does lead all players in goals now in the playoffs. Zach Hyman is having a very, very impressive postseason, and it looks like he's going to just continue that. The second goal of the night came a little bit after that. It's a McDavid goal, and this goal by McDavid is a very Zach Hyman goal. He is on the doorstep, is able to redirect the puck in after, I forget who puts it on his blade. I think it might be Evan Bouchard, who just puts it on his blade while he's down low, and he shovels it home. The Oilers are making a living and winning games from doing this. It's been very impressive. We're going to see if it comes to an end at any time here. And then after that, all momentum changed. The Dallas Stars just dominated the second period here. They score 3 straight after the intermission, after the first intermission. The first goal was an absolute snipe by Logan Robertson over Stuart Skinner. This should have probably been saved by Stuart Skinner, but it's a fantastic goal nonetheless by Logan Robertson. His second goal was another snipe. This one was off of a rebound that goes just to him, and he's able to roof it top shelf. Once again, such an impressive period it was for this young man, who is my first star of the night. I have him highlighted in this one. Of course, it's Jason Robertson. 3 goals, 4 shots on net, 3 points for the youngster. He's still, a part of this young core for the Dallas Stars. His entire line was really just playing so well in this game. Him, Tyler Seguin, and Roope Hintz were playing out of their minds for the Dallas Stars. That first line has been very great all year long. And their third goal of this period wasn't by Jason Robertson. He doesn't get the natural. However, he does, in the third period, end up with another goal to make it the hat trick. But the third goal for the Dallas Stars in this second period was a very impressive team goal. It's Logan Stankoven, Wyatt Johnson, and Jamie Benn just going tic-tac-toe right in front of goal, and it leads to a Logan Stankoven goal, a Jamie Benn goal, and it's one of the more impressive ones that you will see. Tyler Seguin as well is another guy I want to highlight from this game. He has 2 assists on Logan Robertson's fantastic Jason Robertson. There's so many Robertsons. Jason Robertson's impressive game here. He helps him out with 2 assists and 2 shots on goal as well. So, yeah, it's the Dallas Stars top 6 getting it done. We talk about how they have that mix of young talent that's really lighting the league by storm. Really, Logan Robertson, Wyatt Johnson, and Logan Stankoven have been so amazing all postseason long, and this game really proves it. But they are also getting help from Jamie Benn, from Tyler Seguin, Ryan Sutter, Joe Pavelski, you name it. The veteran depth of this team has been amazing. That's why I also want to highlight Tyler Seguin, because although it's a very impressive performance by Logan Robertson, I got to get this name right. Jason Robertson. Got it. A very impressive performance by Jason Robertson. Tyler Seguin did do so well on a lot of these plays as well to set up the young forward in front of net. The third goal, of course, is Jamie Benn. And then in the final minute of the period, the Oilers showed a little bit of life. It's with 10 seconds into the final minute, so about 50 seconds left of the period. They get a goal. It's Adam Henrique scores, going 3-3, going into the third. And it looks like the Oilers got some momentum back. However, once again, it is Jason Robertson absolutely shutting the door on the Edmonton Oilers. He completes his hat trick halfway into the third, gets the game-winning goal. He puts the puck. He skates it to the goal line. He's now behind the net just a little bit. He takes the shot off Stuart Skinner's back. It falls off his back into the net. It's a very heads-up play by Jason Robertson. Oh my God, Jason Robertson. It's a very heads-up play by Jason Robertson. However, this goal should never go in. Stuart Skinner does so bad here. It needs to be a little bit better, especially in situations like this. Very disappointing game by Stuart Skinner this entire game, and that reminds me to check in on who is goaltending for the Oilers. I was watching the game before this, but completely forgot about seeing who was in net for the Oilers, as it has been a constant thing I have liked to look at. It's still Stuart Skinner, who on on 6 shot attempts, has given up 2 goals at a .667 save percentage. It might be time to put Calvin Pickard back in for this Oilers team, who has been playing very well, so it's still shocking that they continue to go away from him. This Oilers team is not going to win if they keep getting goaltending that they're getting out of Stuart Skinner. We talk about it so often. He is the worst goaltender to play for a team in the expansion era by the statistics. He has been horrendous save percentage and goals against wise. The Oilers should be, if the Oilers had Jake Onager on their team, they would be winning the Stanley Cup hands down. This team is way too good, way too talented, and their goaltender just lets them down time and time and time again. It is a very disappointing performance in this one for Stuart Skinner as well, giving up 4 goals. In this game, the 5th goal by the Dallas Stars was an empty net goal, so disappointing performance by Stuart Skinner. And this one, again, it's just he has not been good all postseason long. They keep going back to him. They did go to Calvin Pickard for a couple games in their last series against the Vancouver Canucks, and they did not get the wins, but he played well, and it wasn't on him. He just didn't get the help in front of him. So there might be a thing about Stuart Skinner being in net that their forwards play better. Connor McDavid just might like Stuart Skinner more than Calvin Pickard. That might be it. But, we don't know what's going on in the locker room. But it's so disappointing seeing Stuart Skinner kind of hurt this team. You're scoring 3 goals a game for the Oilers. I mean, they scored 3 goals in the first 2 periods in this game. 3 goals in 40 minutes should get you the win, and you should be doing good. But it's just disappointing for the Edmonton Oilers. They lose another game because of Stuart Skinner. They go down in the first period in this game, mostly because of Stuart Skinner. Well, their first goal probably is Stuart Skinner's fault. The second goal is a goal that went off of Darnell Nurse's rear end that redirected the puck into his own net. So that was unfortunate for them. It's an Oilers. Unfortunate for Stuart Skinner. That might not be on him. But yeah, the Oilers just need to get more production out of their goaltending, and that's been the problem all season long. That's really what we're going to be looking at in this game, especially. 4 saves on 6 shots against. You have a .667 save percentage, where a 910 is really what you're looking at for a good performance by a goaltender, and 900 is probably what will get the job done for a goaltender. Saving 27 of 30 shots is good. That would have been good enough in this game to at least force overtime. But these last 2 games for Stuart Skinner, it's proven to be a rough one. So that'll wrap it up for this talk on the Dallas Stars winning Game 3 in Edmonton. When I come back, we will be talking about the New York Rangers dropping Game 4 to the Panthers as they even the series at 2 apiece.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign. A sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign. A sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign. A sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, welcome back, guys, onto the GSMC Hockey Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I would love to remind you guys before we get into our second segment talking about the Florida Panthers win that if you have any questions that you'd like to see me read out loud live on air, be a little bit more interactive with the show, you can use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net. It does go a long way to help out all the creators here at the GSMC Sports Network. Use the gsmcpodcast.net link for that. And without further ado, we're going to get right into talking about this win by the Florida Panthers. It's 3-2. It's an overtime win. It's an impressive win by the Florida Panthers. The Panthers outshoot the Rangers by 17 in this game. Igor Shesterkin did all he could to try to steal this game. This was a must win for the Panthers, and they really played like it. Matthew Tkachuk talked about it after the game. He was interviewed by Scott Van Pelt on that Sports Center, Scott Van Pelt asked him, you guys didn't have to win this game, at least I know that's your guys' sentiment, but what does it mean to win this game? And Matthew Tkachuk answered very, captain-y as he would, or, he's not a captain, he's but he has that mentality, bringing it from Calgary, and he did say, we didn't have to win this game, however, if we didn't, we would be staring going out of the playoffs in the face, and it would be very tough, especially going back to Madison Square Garden. So it's huge to get this result. And then Scott Van Pelt asked him what they have to do, and he said that they have to just stay fast, stay physical, play that nature of hockey, and I 100% agree with that. Matthew Tkachuk knows exactly how the Florida Panthers got to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, and it's playing that brand of hockey, playing fast, playing hard, playing physical, being the bigger team, being the faster team, just continuing to show the other team that we have more energy than you do at every point of the game. And that's how they're beating the New York Rangers. That's how they tie up the series. They put 40 shots on net, playing so much of this game in the offensive zone. It was a very, very impressive game by the Florida Panthers. The Rangers really didn't really have a shot on net for the last 20 minutes of this game, including overtime. A few missed chances by the Rangers that the Panthers were able to capitalize on, and it ends in a Panthers 3-2 win here. A fantastic performance by Sergei Bobrovsky, the other Russian on the other side of the net. We talked about this going into the series, how important that matchup has been, and it has not disappointed. Igor Shesterkin and Sergei Bobrovsky have played their best hockey either of them have ever played in their careers in this postseason, and especially in this series. And we're seeing it on a night in and night out basis, how amazing these two goaltenders are and how exciting it is to see these two go against each other. So Sergei Bobrovsky is the one that ends up stealing this game, but Igor Shesterkin really, really put in an effort to do so. Going into the game breakdown of the goals of this game, the game opens up from a power play goal by Vincent Trocheck. The Rangers power play was playing amazing the first period, only resulting in one goal. They did have an opportunity on their second power play of the first period. It did not. It went awry. However, Vincent Trocheck played amazing. Artemi Panarin got 2 assists in this game. He played fantastic. The name that has eluded the score sheet all series long has been Mika Zibanejad. Going into this series, we talked about him potentially being the New York Rangers Conn Smythe winner, and he hasn't played like it in this one. It's been Artemi Panarin, it's been Vincent Trocheck, Barclay Goodrow, Alexis Lafreniere have been really driving the offense of the New York Rangers, but Mika Zibanejad hasn't really been anywhere. This particular goal by Vincent Trocheck is off of a face-off on the power play. It's a set play. It goes from Adam Fox to Artemi Panarin. Artemi Panarin finds Vincent Trocheck that's in the high slot. Vincent Trocheck snipes it past Sergei Bobrovsky. Nothing really Sergei Bobrovsky could have done on this one. It's just a very impressive goal. It went right over Bobrovsky's head, went bar down. Placed the shot perfectly. Perfect speed on the puck, on the shot. Very impressive one from Vincent Trocheck on his former team here in Florida. And then after that, it's Sam Bennett with the tying goal. Makes it 1-1 in the second period. This is an assist by Sergei Bobrovsky, who is one of the players I want to one of the players I want to highlight in this series. It's Sergei Bobrovsky, playing amazing. But it's 1 assist, 21 saves, .91 save percentage for Bob. Fantastic performance, and he adds an assist, gets on those score sheet. Very impressive, I guess, from Sergei Bobrovsky. Fantastic pass to Gustav Forsling. Definitely not Gustav Forsling, just absolutely driving the net on this one. But Sam Bennett with this goal, it was such a weird goal because Igor stops the puck, but Sam Bennett goes around and then pokes it in from the backside of Igor Shesterkin. A couple of Rangers, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, Keandre Miller and Ryan Lindgren, the defensive pair that was out on the ice at the time. Both of them had their sticks in the crease trying to stop the puck, but it is a strong stick from Sam Bennett, playing very, very impressively to get this goal to go in and scoring the tying goal here. Sam Bennett midway through the second period, and then the third goal of the game was from Carter Verhaeghe. It is a very, very impressive tip-in after a save by Igor Shesterkin. It's a tough shot to save. The Igor being hard done by these just tips. We talked about it in the Carolina Hurricane series, how many tip-in and deflection goals were going in on Igor Shesterkin that you're looking at. It's like, you can't save that. It's not really on him. That's unfortunate. Good luck. I mean, you just have to attempt, because you're trying to stop that initial shot, and then a stick that is just right there, right on top of you, puts the puck in a completely different part of the net. It's so difficult to stop, and he's unable to do so. But it's a very impressive tip in. It's a very impressive tip in from Carter Verhaeghe. The puck deflects off of Igor Shesterkin, saves the initial shot. It goes off of Ryan Lindgren's head, the defenseman, in front of the net, and then Carter Verhaeghe is just able to will that puck to go in past Igor Shesterkin. A very impressive goal by Carter Verhaeghe. Great hand-eye coordination, and it's not really on Igor Shesterkin. And then Alexis Lafreniere is the guy that gets the second goal, forcing overtime in this game. He scores his 7th of the postseason. We talked about Alexis Lafreniere last game getting 2 goals for the New York Rangers, really helping them out in that overtime win that Alexander Wennberg got the game-winning goal on. But Alexis Lafreniere, 7th goal of the playoffs, come out party during this playoffs. He has really, really grown into such an amazing hockey player before our eyes. I talk about him so often, but he's deserving. Former number 1 overall pick. He deserves all the talk that we give him and all the praise that we give him from the 2020 draft class. Very difficult, time to come into the league. So impressive with what he's been able to do. It's a very great backhanding pass by Adam Fox, who was very impressive in this game. Adam Fox gets 2 assists in this game, all for naught, though, unfortunately, for the Rangers. And then it is, to win the game, a power play goal very early into the overtime period, only a little bit over a minute into this overtime period. It's a goal by Sam Reinhart, his 8th of the postseason. I believe his 3rd power play goal in the last 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. Sam Reinhart has been very impressive, but the reason this guy is up on your screen right now, Alexander Barkov, I was getting to it, I promise. He had 2 assists in this game, both of them very, very pivotal assists, getting the leading goal in regulation and then a primary assist on this power play goal overtime game winner by Sam Reinhart. I was kind of on a toss-up between Sam Reinhart and Alexander Barkov, who deserved the player of the game for the Panthers, second player of the game. Bobrovsky was the first player of the game that you guys already saw. I decided on Alexander Barkov, the captain. Played amazing in this game, very great on both ends of the ice. The Selke winner of this year has been, that's kind of been his brand of hockey he's been playing with this entire postseason. So impressive from Alexander Barkov to keep that going. The Florida Panthers, like I said, that Matthew Tkachuk interview, what he said in that one was just keep playing fast and keep playing physical, and a lot of that is coming from their engine, Alexander Barkov, their captain. The Florida Panthers have relied on him the last 2 postseason runs, and he has been up to the task been up to the task. He has been extremely impressive. The Finn, the former number 3 overall pick from the Florida Panthers, been with this team his entire career, and the now 2-time Selke winner, deserves a lot of the praise that he is getting, because once again he has been so impressive of this postseason. 11 assists for the Florida Panthers, and has been in a hand for every single Florida Panthers win. I don't think there has been a Florida Panthers win in this postseason where he hasn't been on the score sheet at least once with a goal or an assist. Once again, so impressive has Alexander Barkov been in every situation for the Florida Panthers. So the Panthers winning this game 3-2. It's another extremely close game, another overtime game in this series. It shows you how evenly matched these two teams really are to each other. The Panthers have been playing better for the majority of this postseason, or a more majority of this series. It's been Igor Shesterkin that has been playing great hockey to keep the Rangers in this one. This is such a fun series. I'm so excited to see how it transpires with a now Game 5 going back to Madison Square Garden. This series becomes a best of 3 in MSG with the home ice advantage for the New York Rangers, the greatest home ice advantage there is outside of maybe Centre Bell, the Montreal State or Montreal Arena, or the Scotiabank with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Both of those places are very difficult road environments as well. So the Rangers are, have the favorable matchup going forward. They have home ice advantage in the best of 3. This series is clearly going 7 games. 3 straight overtime games? Are you kidding me? I would be shocked to see this series not go 7 games. We're back talking about Game 7 in MSG, one of the best. This entire conference finals has been one of the best in recent memory, so I'm so excited to see how both of these series transpire. As a little update in the Stars-Oilers game, it is with 10 minutes left, 2-2 still, nothing really happening in this second period after 4 goals in the first. Probably what both teams need. We'll be talking about that more in the 5th segment, but for now that'll wrap it up for our first 2 segments. When I get back, we'll be talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets and their new president of hockey operations and general manager.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, welcome back, guys, to the GSMC Hockey Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. We're going to get right into our 3rd segment, talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets and their new general manager and president of hockey operations that they announced today. Don Waddell has taken over Jarmo Kekalainen's old role with the Columbus Blue Jackets. I would love to put this out before I start talking about the Blue Jackets. I did grow up in Columbus for all my life. Besides the past month I've lived in Columbus. I've been very close to this hockey team for my entire life. They are the reason that I'm going into a life in sports. So I do have to put my biases out there before I start talking about them here. So I do know a lot more about the Blue Jackets than anybody else probably in the world. No, not that. But I do know a lot about the Blue Jackets. So I think I am very I'm very well fit to talk about them, if I do say so myself. They do hire a new general manager and president of hockey operations. It's Don Waddell. Looking at his career, he has a very impressive and very disappointing career up to this point. The highlight of it is winning a Stanley Cup. He has it in his very first year as an assistant general manager in Detroit, where they won the 97-98 Stanley Cup Finals. That was his only season as an assistant general manager in Detroit. And then when the Atlanta Thrashers became an organization, he was named as the first general manager of the Atlanta Thrashers. He served in that role until the Thrashers disbanded in 2009 and 2010 to become the Winnipeg Jets. He was with that organization their entire time. Under a few different roles, he was promoted to team president, but it was a kind of disappointing career in Atlanta. Of course, they are not a team anymore, so take that as you will. Excuse me. But it is a disappointing career in Atlanta, where he really tried to make that organization thrive, and it never did, only making it to the Stanley Cup playoffs only once in 2006 and 2007 when he won the Southeast Division with Atlanta. And then he was announced as a professional scout in 2012 after a couple of years out of the NHL. After that, he does go in 2014. He becomes the president of Gale Force Sports and Entertainment, which is the parent company for the Carolina Hurricanes. And then in 2018, he was named president and general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes, where until today he was serving as the president and general manager of the Hurricanes. Now Eric Tulsky is the one who came in to replace him, who is now the interim general manager for the Carolina Hurricanes, and today he was announced to be president of hockey operations, general manager, and alternate governor for the Columbus Blue Jackets. A lot of titles there. What's going on internally for the Blue Jackets? You had for those of you that don't know, they had to fire Jarmo Kekalainen after another disappointing year. It's been a couple of disappointing years for the Blue Jackets as of late. Jarmo Kekalainen has been a great general manager for the Blue Jackets. He just has not been able to produce in the postseason, and as of late, it's been disappointing, going through 4 straight years now, missing the postseason since their 2021 series win over the Toronto Maple Leafs in that bubble playoffs, where they eventually lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning. That is the last time that we've seen them in the postseason, was that crazy 6 overtime game where we were all begging to go to bed from that one. So it's been a while since the Blue Jackets have been in the postseason. That is why Jarmo Kekalainen doesn't have a job anymore. What the new general manager, Don Waddell, is coming into is a fantastic young core in Columbus. You have a lot of great pieces for the Blue Jackets. The best prospect pool in the NHL from a bunch of different people. Consider it that a bunch of different professional outlets that rank prospect pools have them number one, because of fantastic forwards such as you have Gavin Brindley, Adam Fantilli, Dmitry Voronkov, Yegor Chinnikov, Kirill Marchenko, Cole Sillinger, Alexander Texier. All these guys have been drafted since 2019. A lot of young guys here. Those are just the forwards who are playing in the NHL right now. And then you also have Adam Bokvist, who is 23 years old. Zach Werenski is still 26. Can't believe that guy is still 26. I remember when the Blue Jackets drafted him back in 2015, 8th overall. Ever since then, he has been a key part and now the assistant captain in Columbus. You also have pieces, Kent Johnson, who is finished the season on LTIR. He is expected to be back for next year. He is 21 years old as well, a top 5 pick in 2021. Patrick Laine, who's 26 years old. He is unfortunately in the NHL PA player assistant program. He battled a bunch of mental disorders throughout last year and decided to go into the NHL PA player assistance program. Unfortunately, we didn't see the rest of the year for Patrick Laine, but hoping he can come back, as he is a huge part for the Blue Jackets, and such a fantastic player and such an exciting player as well for them. You also have in the system fantastic defensemen, from David Jiricek, who was a 6th overall pick in 2022, Denton Mateychuk, their 12th overall pick in 2022, Carson Kuhlman's the 25th overall pick in 2021, Samuel Nazco, Olbjorg Vikholm, Stanislav Svozil, who was playing was playing with Connor Bedard in the WHL for a couple of years. He is now signed to a contract. We've seen him in the NHL a couple of times. Marcus Bjork, who is a great prospect as well for the Blue Jackets. And then on top of that, they still have fantastic forward prospects such as Hunter McCown, who's 21 years old, Michael Picchia, who's 22 years old, Luca Pinelli, who they're very high on, who has signed an entry-level contract for them, Luca Del Bel Baluz, who is playing amazing for the Monsters in their Calder Cup run. Amidst all of this, amidst all the shakeup, they are currently in the middle of a Calder Cup run where they are currently in the semifinals for the Calder Cup. And old adage in the NHL is, if your team wins a Calder, you're going to see that success in 2 years' time transpire to the NHL, at least going a little bit into a playoff run for them. But you also have prospects like Jordan Dumais, who led the QMJHL in scoring for like 2 years straight, was in that points race with Connor McDavid in his draft year. Jordan Dumais has been very impressive for them. James Malatesta, who got some minutes on the NHL roster to end last season. He played very impressively for them. And on top of all of this, the Blue Jackets have also $23 million in cap space for this offseason. They are in such a fantastic position, and that's what Don Waddell is coming into, being the new general manager, and Poha, president of hockey operations. He is coming into a fantastic core. The players that he needs to re-sign is 5 RFAs, and then you can re-sign Carson Meyer if you want to. Probably not going to. He's 26 years old. Doesn't look like he's an NHL forward. You need to re-sign Kent Johnson. You need to re-sign Yegor Chinnikov, Kirill Marchenko, Cole Sillinger, and Alexander Texier. Those are the players you have to re-sign. You could also potentially re-sign Alexander Nylander, who played very impressively once the Blue Jackets traded for him from the Pittsburgh Penguins in that 1-for-1 swap between Emil Bemstrom and Alexander Wenberg. So a bunch of young forwards is what you need to re-sign. All of these guys are going to be around $2 to $3 million. Not really anybody going for much more. Probably a bunch of bridge contracts while you figure out who is really worth keeping on your team. The only real guys that you're paying a lot of money for is Johnny Gaudreau on an almost $10 million contract that was given to him in the 2022 offseason. He has not really lived up to that contract, but it might not be his to blame, because you have a lot of guys around him who have been underperforming, including of those is Patrick Laine, making $8.7 million. He is on the NHLPA program right now, so we'll see if that 8.7 is really within the cap space next year, or if he stays in that program. He could definitely need one more year. It seems like that is likely for Patrick Laine right now. We don't really know what's going on with him. It's more of once we get news on Patrick Laine, that's when things will be moving on him. So you also have Zach Werenski making $9.5 million for the next 4 years. He earned that contract. He has been one of the best defensemen in the NHL the last few years. Last year, he broke the Columbus Blue Jackets defensive points record, as he finally had a healthy season after missing all of the prior year with an injury. They also have Damon Severson, Ivan Provorov, and Eric Goodbranson all making north of $4 million on the blue line. So they have a lot of faith in those guys. They're going to try to fill the blue line next year with a bunch of their younger guys in David Jiricek, who is definitely ready to be in the NHL next year. Denton Mateychuk might be able to make that step up. Carson Kuhlman's could definitely make that step up as well. This Blue Jackets core is going to be ready to compete. And these were the words that were echoed by Don Waddell in his press conference today. He was introduced to the media today and talked about how ready this core could be to contend and how excited he was. There are just the terms that he used was, we need to figure out the loose ends, and once we tie up those loose ends, this team will be rolling. That to me strikes, he's gonna make some moves on the with trades, and he's gonna make some signings to get this team to where it needs to be contending. He said, if we tie up those loose ends, this rebuild will go by very fast. They might be contending as quick as next year with a bunch of these teams in cap trouble. We talked about how the Carolina Hurricanes could be in cap trouble going forward. We talked about how the New Jersey Devils could be in cap trouble going forward. We talked about how a bunch of these Metro teams could be in a lot of trouble moving forward into this offseason, losing a lot of players. So the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to be one of the main contenders for a lot of these top end free agents, and a bunch of these trade pieces. Where Mitch Marner for the Toronto Maple Leafs has been the biggest name thrown out. Teuvo Teravainen from the Carolina Hurricanes have been thrown out a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see what Don Waddell does in Columbus. The new general manager, he will be there for a while, I would assume, as the Blue Jackets don't move on from guys that fast unless they're their head coach. But that'll wrap it up for the Columbus Blue Jackets and their new general manager and what I expect to see from him. Once again, guys, I am from Columbus, so I do have to admit to my biases immediately talking about this team and talking about what they're going to do. So take that as you will. But once we get back to it after my third break of the night, we'll be talking about the Seattle Kraken and their new head coach, as another team is hiring another piece for their team going into the 2024-2025 season.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, as we go throughout the show, of course, the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars are playing, and I have an update. While I was going through my break, I took a look at the score. It's goals by Leon Draisaitl and Matthias Janmark to make the Oilers have a 4-2 lead in this Game 4. Very, very important game, as we saw the Panthers take Game 4 in their series. The Edmonton Oilers are looking to do the same to tie the series up. This conference finals have been all you could hope for. A lot better than the NBA conference finals, if I might add. But this NHL conference finals has been amazing, and that's not what we're even talking about. What we're talking about is the Seattle Kraken, a team far, far away from the playoffs, and that's why they fired their head coach. The Seattle Kraken fired Dave Hackstall, who had a very impressive run with the Seattle Kraken. We've always looked at this team not as a team that would contend right away like the Vegas Golden Knights did when they entered the league. They were in the Stanley Cup final that very first year. It's such an impressive year from the Vegas Golden Knights. They were able to put together a very strong contending roster immediately with their misfits is what they called them. But the Seattle Kraken didn't have the same success. Their first year, they finished with 60 points, a bottom 3 team in the NHL, I believe they were. Getting Matthew Beniers in that 2022 draft has been very pivotal for them. They went on to get 100 points in the very next season under Dave Hackstall, losing in the second round, and now in the 23-24, their third season in the league, the Seattle Kraken finished with 81 points and fired head coach Dave Hackstall. They feel like they have a team ready to contend, and they believe Dan Bylsma is their guy to do so. Dan Bylsma has been a NHL head coach for a very, very long time. He took over the Pittsburgh Penguins when they were on their run. He started with their affiliates in 06-07 at Wilkes-Barre. Scranton Penguins, was the assistant head coach, made way all the way to head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins, where he had that title beginning in 08-09, their first Stanley Cup in the Crosby era. He would hold that head coaching position, making the playoffs each year until 2013-2014, where he was fired before, I believe, Mike Sullivan was the one that came in and took over in Pittsburgh and won back-to-back Stanley Cups the very next year for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins have been very impressive for a very long time, winning. So they won the Stanley Cup in 08-09. They lost in the second round in 09-2010, lost in the first round the next 2 years, and then 2012-2013 lost in the Eastern Conference Final. 2013-2014 they lost in the second round, and after that they fire Dan Bylsma, where he would go on to take over the Buffalo Sabres, who were just abysmal during this era. It's not on him that they weren't able to make the playoffs. After 2 years there, he was fired. He goes to become an assistant for the Detroit Red Wings for the next 3 years, 3 pretty abysmal years in Detroit. Later, he goes back to the AHL, where he took over the Charlotte Checkers in 2021-2022, and then the last 2 years he spent as the Coachella Valley Firebirds head coach, the Seattle Kraken affiliate. He has such a weird career in the NHL, being a head coach, that it's, I don't know what to take of all this information. He is a Stanley Cup winner in 08-09. His very first year as an NHL head coach, he won the Stanley Cup. He goes on to make the playoffs for so many years in a row, and then hasn't been able to repeat that success in the NHL since. For Dan Bylsma, he won the Jack Adams in 2010-2011, the year that the Pittsburgh Penguins lost in the first round of that Stanley Cup playoffs. It's so weird, this entire, this entire like rap sheet that he has in the NHL, because it's so good, and then he doesn't miss the playoffs in Pittsburgh, and then he gets fired after he lost in the second round, and then they go on to win back-to-back Stanley Cups. So I don't know what to take of that information. And then he goes on to the Buffalo Sabres, who was a trash shoot at this point. This organization was absolutely horrible in the mid-2010s. They didn't make the playoffs for how many years in a row. And then he gets fired after 2 quick years there. Goes to Detroit. Hasn't been an NHL head coach since. So, former Jack Adams winner. He's clearly good enough coach at the NHL level. The Seattle Kraken, their roster is made for success right now with young players such as Matthew Beniers we talked about, but also Kailer Yamamoto, who is really good, Jaden Schwartz, Yanni Gourde, Jordan Eberle. You have Andrei Burakovsky, Oliver Bjorkstrand, who are also really good. And then on the back end, they do have Adam Larson, Jamie Oleksiak, Vince Dunn, Philip Grubauer is their goaltender, who played amazing last year when they made the playoffs, but not so much this year. They have $23 million in cap space, a lot that they can do with not a lot of players needing to re-sign. They might be able to give out a very big extension to Matthew Beniers, somewhere around the $6.5 to $7 million for 5 or 6 years. Could be what we're looking at with Matthew Beniers, but they also have Eli Tolvanen that they need to re-sign, so a lot going on for the Seattle Kraken. It's going to be interesting to see what Dan Bylsma is able to do with this roster. Of course, he's not the one putting it together. He's just the one that, helps develop a lot of these guys, puts the system out on the ice, and then makes those line changes and game time decisions on the ice. So very important part to the Seattle Kraken organization. Of course, he's going to be close with talking about who the guys he wants on this team to be. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. A long career in the NHL. Winning a Stanley Cup in his very first season as a head coach is a very interesting, rap sheet in the NHL. So we're going to see what he does in Seattle. Might win the Stanley Cup next year. Probably not. This Kraken team isn't a cup contender immediately. However, they definitely can get to a point where they are. So I'm excited to see what they are able to do. But that'll wrap it up for our Seattle Kraken talk, as I did run a little bit long on our first 3 segments. So had to make up time somewhere. I guess I'll do it there. Our fifth and final segment, we will be talking about the Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Stars. Game 4, what's going on right now, what I saw while I was watching during a little bit of the first period, and what it would mean for the series going forward. Alright guys, welcome back to the GSMC Hockey Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. We're going to get right into our 5th and final segment of the night, talking about the Edmonton Oilers against the Dallas Stars in the Game 4, as we have 6 goals to talk about here. The Dallas Stars played fantastic in their in the first period. However, they were met with a onslaught by the Edmonton Oilers. 4 goals unanswered now from Edmonton, and it's just impressive play. The Dallas Stars got on the board very early, less than a minute into this game. It's a Wyatt Johnson goal from Jamie Benn. That line, as we mentioned, Ben, Johnson, Stankoven have been so amazing. They combined for the first goal in this game again. Issa Lindell gets the next goal, just sending the shot off of Darnell Nurse. It goes in past Stuart Skinner, and it seems like Stuart Skinner has kind of tightened the ship a little bit better in that second period. He faces 8 shots against, saving all of them, so a lot better than the first period, as I was talking about 45 minutes ago in this show. Now, the Stars 2-0 lead with Issa Lindell, Miro Heiskanen, and Jamie Benn combining for their second goal. After that, the Oilers got production from their middle lines. It's Ryan McLeod, Corey Perry, Darnell Nurse. Ryan McLeod's first goal of this postseason. Corey Perry's first assist of this postseason. That's very That's very weird to see Corey Perry not get on the score sheet that much. Of course, probably a Hall of Famer in the NHL. Has had such a fantastic career. But after that, the Edmonton Oilers were able to tie it up late in the first period with a goal by Evan Bouchard, getting assisted by Connor McDavid, of course, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. That first line has been lights out all postseason, and there they are again. Matthias Janmark got on the board with a shorthanded goal. This is his second of the postseason, getting an assist from Matthias Janmark. And then the last goal, it was not Matthias Ekholm. It was Leon Draisaitl finally getting on the board for the Edmonton Oilers, as he scores his 10th goal of the postseason, getting assisted by Zach Hyman and Connor McDavid. There's the first line again for the Edmonton Oilers. Their superstars showing it once again. Draisaitl and McDavid, when they're out on the ice together, they score goals. It's just what happens. Nothing you can do to stop it. And now they're up 4-2 going into this third period. They need to hold on to this one very badly. A loss here is a loss in the series, 100%. If they drop this third period, which they definitely could, as we've definitely seen 2 multi-goal third period comebacks all throughout this entire postseason. That's what's made it so entertaining. But the Edmonton Oilers need this one badly. Jake Onger not having his best of games, having an .833 save percentage, saving 20 on 24 shots. Not too great from Jake Onger in this game, but it's just bound to happen when you're playing the Oilers. They're going to score a lot, and they do in this game. And Jake Onger not able to stop, the fantastic forwards of the Edmonton Oilers. It's Connor McDavid with 2 points. It's Leon Draisaitl finally getting a point in this series. We talked about him 45 minutes ago in that first segment of the Dallas Stars Edmonton Oilers. We're going to talk about him again. He needs to produce for this Edmonton Oilers team. When he does produce, they win hockey games. We didn't see it in the first, in the last 2 losses that they suffered. Getting him back, getting him on the score sheet again is absolutely massive for the Edmonton Oilers. He needs to score, and he does in this game. Now it's 4-2 going into the third period where anything can happen, as I mentioned. But once again, the Oilers need to hold on to this lead. Going to Dallas 2-2 will be huge for them. It's a best of 3. We would then have 2 best of 3s in this postseason. That would be so exciting. And honestly, at this moment, I don't know if I could tell you who's winning either series. All 4 teams have been playing amazing. It's the best hockey to watch in a very long time. This is the best conference finals that we have seen since 2017 with Senators versus the Penguins, and then I believe the other side it was the Predators versus the Sharks, if I'm not mistaken. That postseason was so fun to watch, and we're seeing it again here with potentially and if the Oilers hold on to win this game, 2 Game 7s is definitely in the cards. That would be so fun and just such a treat. As I mentioned earlier in this episode, talking about how much better this is than the NBA postseason has shaped up to be, with the Celtics getting a 4-0 sweep of the Pacers, and with the Mavericks holding a 3-1 lead over the Timberwolves at this moment. I can't thank the NHL enough for these matchups, man. I'm just enjoying watching this. Edmonton Oilers need to hold on to this one though. If they crack, and they definitely could, it's Stuart Skinner in net here. We talk about him not being up to task, is the nice way that I could put that. Not being the best goaltender in this postseason. He's going to need to hold on to this one. He turned it around, as I mentioned, in that second period. But looking to him, absolutely. Need a big moment from him in this game. If he is able to shut down the Dallas Stars, that would be huge. But the Stars are definitely a team that can score at will. And the Oilers defensemen have not played well, especially in this game. Darnell Nurse, as I mentioned, kind of being the reason that they open. Evan Bouchard has a goal, but his defense has been lacking at times in this game. Cody Ceci hasn't been that impressive. So for the Edmonton Oilers, 20 minutes, shut down hockey. And if they're able to do that, it's 2-2 going back to the American Airlines Center, I believe it is, that the Dallas Stars play at. That'd be absolutely huge for Edmonton. Guaranteeing a Game 6 in Edmonton is huge. We talk about playoff hockey in Canada and how it's kind of just different, and we are definitely seeing it here at Rogers Place. It's been electric the last two days. Or not last 2 days, the last 2 games that we've seen. Even in the loss that they suffered from the Dallas Stars, it was still such a fun environment, such high energy. I mean, I do have the picture. I do have the picture here talking about, or where is it? I had it. There it is. I mean, look at the crowd behind Jason Robertson there. I mean, that is such a. I love seeing the orange and blue in the stands of I love seeing the orange and blue in the stands of Edmonton. It looks so great. All of them are very loud. When they sang "Oh Canada" to start the game today, man, I'm American, and that even moved me. It's such a fun environment and such a fun experience, that hockey experience in Canada. So guaranteeing that Game 6 back in Edmonton is huge for the Edmonton Oilers. That looking like it will be a win for them, as they had played so much better on home ice in this game, and they played very well in Game 3. They just, slipped in one period, and that happens. It's fine. This is showing their mental toughness and mental fortitude to be able to put that period and just put that game aside, go out, have a great performance, scoring 4 unanswered in this game. I was so worried for the Edmonton Oilers when they gave up 2 early goals, kind of fluky goals too, but being able to bounce back, show that mental toughness, mental resilience is huge for the Edmonton Oilers. And now this series looks like it could go the distance if they are able to hold on. And I'm so excited for that one. So that'll wrap it up for this Wednesday GSMC Hockey Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. If you guys like the show, don't forget to like it, subscribe, follow it on whatever you guys are viewing it on. You guys, your support means the world to us. And it really does make a difference for all of us here at GSMC Sports Network. If you could also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever you guys use for social media, it would mean a lot for us. Once again, have a wonderful day. Thank you all, and goodbye.
Let's go.